Yeah, I'm certain that you've been having a good time listening to Miss Ufuomaee share her story, and not just her story, she's giving us deep thoughts. Me, deep nuggets that will, I think there are points and places where you have to pause and like, what's this about? Okay, so we're moving over to some of the questions that are necessary for us to know more about her and also apply to our lives. So tell us, were there other challenges that came up, not just about blogging, for all the works that you do? Were there points where you wanted to quit, or were there points where it was tougher, for you to do what you were doing?
Yeah, with my charity, for instance, there have been times where I've been thinking, how do I sustain this? Because there's sometimes you feel like you're just chasing people for money and begging for support. So getting the charity to be self-sustainable is still a challenge. So there are times I felt, I don't know if I can continue to do this, because it requires so much of me, and my mind is in so many other places. I can't give it the time it needed. So like last year, I was actually looking for somebody else to help me to take on my role so that I could focus on other things. But with COVID coming on and all that, we just put that off.
Still on challenges. Tell us which of the works was more challenging for you to write, or was more intense for you to write?
The hardest book to write is not here. It was in Small World series. The Small World. Season 2. Season 1 was a piece of cake. I wrote that season 1, one episode a day, in 14 days, book finished. In fact, last day I wrote 2 episodes, I think. And that was it, and it was just flowing. Season 2, by the time I got there, I had like 50 characters I was juggling. Yeah, it's a small world. I'm juggling characters from Broken, I'm juggling characters from an emotional girl, I'm juggling from the church girl, plus the people I introduced in season 1. Do you understand? There were new characters. And I'm trying to be consistent with what I wrote in these 3 books and season 1. And then there's a timeline. I'm trying to do 3 weddings and a funeral. The title of book 2. So that was a major challenge. And that was when I decided I had to outline. Because before I was not outlining, I was just writing as I was led. But with season 2, I had to outline, I had to do character cards for my 50 characters. I had to know who they were, where they lived, who they were married to. Do you understand? Because I myself was getting a bit, I'm going to get confused. I'm going to confuse my readers, because they need to know who's who, And then I had the problem that I had 2 Kemis. There's a Kemi Broken and the Kemi, church girl. So I had to be calling them by their last names as well. Yeah, so that was a challenge. And that actually helped me to become a better writer, because once I had to outline for A Small World, I started doing it for my other stories. I don't always outline, but I started thinking about that more, so that I can be consistent. And then the current book, The Naive Wife, the one that I'm promoting, that's been also very challenging emotionally for me. Yeah, because it's a very dark book. It has a dark tones to it. It deals with something that is actually, I think, quite common because of the number of people that read this and say, wow, this is so real. Like they can relate it to themselves. It's like they know people who've been through that. So.
That's good. So there's also another part of, it's not a challenge anyway, but I think it's one of the things that are necessary in whatever we are doing. The fact that we're doing something and it's kind of faith-based doesn't mean that there shouldn't be a great level of excellence in it. So how do you keep yourself going at what you do? How do you keep yourself getting excellent at what you do? Like, what is the system you put in place to keep on to get better?
Read. As a writer, you have to read what other people do. doing a writing. So you read to learn ways of communicating in your writing, different tricks of the trade. You read to get new ideas. You read to, look at how people structure their stories and stuff. And of course, it's good to be aware of what's going on around you because they inspire stories. If you don't know what's happening, you really don't know what you're writing. And because my story is faith-based, I've got to stay grounded in the faith. I've got to know my Bible. Other things that people have done, which I haven't yet done, is attend courses like master. I know an author who said she went to do masters for writing. After that, the next book, she's now a bestseller. So at the time I asked her why, because to me it's like such natural ability. But then there are other people who I believe obviously need to develop that ability, and maybe I will decide to do that at some point. But I'm quite content with the special talent that I believe I have. And I also check my work. I'm very rigorous. I'm not a lazy editor.
You work at your work yourself, right?
Oh, I'm not a lazy editor. I'm very thorough. After I publish my books, I always read them again. I look for errors and I clean them up until they're done. They're supposed to be spotless before you publish them, but the people that you've paid 3 editors and you still see errors in your book that's published. And it's like, what? How did that get there? You understand? But it happens. So I always look over my books to clean them up afterwards. So you just have to have pride in what you're doing, and put your whole heart in it. Without the heart, your work is empty. Seriously. Whatever you're doing, if your heart is not in it, it's not gonna be up to standard. It's gonna be poor. That's why God rejected Cain's sacrifice as opposed to Abel's. Your heart has to be in it.
Your heart has to be in it. Whatever you're doing, let your heart be in it.
Yeah.
Wow. That's it. So apart from writing, how does someone who's in business work, just as you are, or in the social work, how does that person keep going or keep getting better at what they do?
Learn from others. Practice. Yes. Attend, make connections, attend events, make connections. Maximize your relationships. Invest in others.